On November 29, 2004, Wendy called her ex-boyfriend in Beijing, claiming it was the anniversary of their sexual relationship and asking him to meet her. Although reluctant, he agreed. That night, Wendy excitedly went to meet him, not knowing it would be her last. Welcome to Red Eastern True Crime. If you like true crime stories, please subscribe to my channel. Let's dive into this story. Wendy's ex-boyfriend, Yin Zhouhui, was born in 1977 to a rural family in Shulan, Jilin province. He had two younger sisters, and his parents were illiterate peasants. Yin was introverted, easygoing, and not very expressive, but he excelled academically. He knew that education was the only way to change his destiny, and his family pinned their hopes on him. To financially support Yin's education, his sisters had to drop out of middle school to work. In 1996, Yin was admitted to the Wuhan University of Technology. 4 years later, he was accepted into the graduate program at the Beijing Institute of Technology. After receiving his master's degree in 2003, he continued there to pursue his doctorate. Yin was the first university student and PhD candidate from his hometown, making him a source of pride for his family and the entire village. In addition to his family's support, Yin secured student loans and lived frugally. He worked in a laboratory to earn some living expenses, thanks to his mentor's arrangement. Yin devoted much of his time to research, which earned him recognition from his mentor. During his PhD, he participated in the development of China's fourth-generation tanks and made significant progress. His future was promising. Yin had a stable long-distance relationship with his girlfriend, Yang Shaoli, whom he met during his undergraduate studies. After graduation, Yin went to Beijing to continue his studies, while Yang stayed in Wuhan to work. To support Yin, Yang sent him money every month. Their long-distance relationship lasted 4 years, with infrequent meetings due to their busy schedules and financial constraints. They mostly communicated via QQ, where Yin used the screen name Hero. In July 2003, Yin received a friend request from a stranger named Fleeting Moments on QQ. He accepted without much thought, and they began chatting in basic English. They then discussed various topics, including music, education, and hobbies. Yin found the girl on the other side of the screen to be cheerful and interesting, which piqued his interest. This online friend brought excitement to Yin's otherwise monotonous life. Their chats on QQ became more frequent, often lasting several hours late into the night. As they got to know each other better, the girl revealed her real name as Wang Xiaojing, whom we will call Wendy. She was 23 years old and had recently graduated from a technical college in Beijing. She stayed in Beijing and worked as a heating designer in a company. Wendy led a simple life with few friends in Beijing, spending most of her time online when she was not working. When she learned that Yin was pursuing a PhD at such a young age, she admired him greatly. Of course, Yin never mentioned that he had a girlfriend. After 3 months of chatting, Yin and Wendy exchanged phone numbers and agreed to meet. Wendy suggested that they meet first, and Yin excitedly agreed. It would be his first time meeting an online friend in real life, and he was filled with anticipation and excitement. In November 2003, they met as planned. Yin was disappointed because Wendy's appearance was not what he had expected. She was plain-looking and a little overweight. However, Wendy's cheerful and honest personality stood out. She told Yin that she was from Xingtai, Hebei province, 5 hours from Beijing. Her parents worked in a state-owned enterprise. After graduation, she decided to stay in Beijing instead of returning home. Wendy admired Yin's accomplishments, and his PhD status seemed like a shining aura to her. Having an admirer made Yin happy. They began to meet and contact each other frequently, adding some excitement to his life. On the evening of November 29, 2003, Yin invited Wendy to dinner at a small restaurant near her office. During dinner, Wendy subtly expressed her feelings for Yin, but he deflected the conversation by thinking of his longtime girlfriend, Yang. Wendy thought that Yin was indecisive. They both drank heavily. Around 10 p.m. that night, Yin offered to take Wendy home. They ended up spending the night together. The next day, Yin felt lost and regretted his actions of the night before, while Wendy was quite satisfied, believing that Yin had accepted her as his girlfriend. She again expressed her true feelings, saying, "I really like you." Yin could not meet Wendy's eyes and could not say a word. He understood Wendy's thoughts, but he knew that they couldn't be together. In every way, Wendy was not as good as his girlfriend Yang, and he never thought of breaking up with Yang. Yin thought his relationship with Wendy was just a fleeting moment of passion from the virtual world, not something to continue in reality. He saw it as a one-night stand, separate from a romantic relationship or marriage. However, he couldn't express his true feelings to Wendy. Back in his dormitory, Yin regretted his impulsiveness and began to view Wendy differently, seeing her as casual and frivolous. He believed she was trying to use their sex to manipulate him. Wendy, on the other hand, thought their relationship was cemented by their night together. She saw Yin as an honest, traditional man with a bright future. With her limited education and ordinary job, she saw Yin as the best she could ever find. When she told her parents about Yin, they were thrilled that she was dating a PhD student and urged her to bring him home. After that night, Yin distanced himself from Wendy. He stopped contacting her and soon suggested that they end their relationship because they were not compatible. But Wendy said, "I love you. I've already given myself to you. And I've told my family about us. My father invites you to visit our home. What should I do?" When Yin heard about meeting Wendy's family, he flatly refused. He made many excuses to avoid it, and buried himself in his lab work to forget the situation. But he underestimated Wendy's stubbornness. A few days later, Yin received a phone call from Wendy's father. He said, "Wendy told us about you two. We're very happy. You have a bright future ahead of you. And Wendy is our only daughter. We invite you to visit our home anytime." Wendy's father's involvement made Yin angry, but he didn't want to be rude on the phone, so he didn't say much. However, he immediately had a big fight with Wendy. Wendy felt wronged and told her family that she was dating a PhD student to make them proud. Despite Yin's coldness, she believed that with her efforts, she could rekindle the passion they had when they first met. To that end, Wendy told Yin that she planned to apply for a part-time graduate program to close the gap between them. Wendy thought about Yin every day and felt increasingly infatuated with him. She was deeply hurt by his distance, so she often called her father to vent her frustration, sometimes crying during these conversations. Her father decided to call Yin again and invited him and Wendy to their home to talk things over. Yin was extremely angry that Wendy was using her family to pressure him, but he couldn't bring himself to directly reject Wendy's father. He had to suppress his anger and disgust while continuing to see Wendy. Regarding the multiple invitations from Wendy's father, Yin thought, "Wendy's parents must know that I slept with their daughter. What should I do?" After several evasions, Yin decided to go with Wendy to meet her parents. In early 2004, Yin went to Xingtai with Wendy. Yin wanted to take the opportunity to end his relationship with Wendy, and hoped that Wendy's father would stay out of their affairs if things didn't work out. However, Wendy's family welcomed him as if he were a future son-in-law, and many relatives came to meet Wendy's PhD boyfriend. At Wendy's house, Yin felt extremely uncomfortable and couldn't keep up the pretense any longer. He told Wendy again that he wanted to break up with her. The fact that the future son-in-law broke up with Wendy on his first visit provoked strong opposition from Wendy's entire family. Wendy's father urged Yin to take back his words, saying that it was normal for young couples to fight, and that they would reconcile after cooling off for a few days. But Yin was determined to end the relationship. Wendy's father became furious and said, "You already had a relationship with my daughter. You took her virginity, and now you don't want to take responsibility. You must pay for all her losses." Unable to argue, Yin quickly left Wendy's family home and returned to Beijing alone. On March 4, 2004, Yin officially ended the relationship and changed his phone number to avoid Wendy. Wendy was devastated. believing that giving Yin her first time meant he owed her a lifetime commitment. She couldn't accept losing such a promising partner. Their beginning had been so beautiful. She did not want to lose it. The blow of being dumped nearly caused Wendy to have a nervous breakdown. She couldn't understand why this was happening and became distracted at work, eventually losing her job. During this time, Wendy continued to cry to her father about her pain. Wendy's father decided to intervene again to find an explanation for his daughter. After some investigation, he got the phone number of Yin's school lab and called. Yin was shocked that Wendy's father could find him this way. Wendy's father angrily said, "Don't think you can get away with this. You keep finding fault with my daughter. You must marry Wendy. She lost her job because you broke up with her. I will go to the school authorities and ruin your reputation. If you want to break up, you must make up for all her losses since you tricked her." This threatening phone call made Yin tremble with fear. At 27, he had spent his entire life in academia, from elementary school to his PhD, and had never dealt with complex interpersonal issues. The more he thought about it, the more terrified he became. If Wendy's father really went to the school authorities, Yin would be disgraced, expelled, and his future would be ruined. He would also lose his girlfriend, Yang. How could he face his parents in the countryside? After that, Wendy's father called Yin often. Sometimes he tried to persuade him, and sometimes he threatened him, always demanding that Yin solve the problem with Wendy. Scared, Yin was often too afraid to answer the phone. One day in May 2004, the phone rang again in Yin's lab. Wendy's father shouted, "What kind of person are you? You're a liar and a scoundrel. You seduced my daughter, ruined her, and now you want to abandon her? No way. You have no morals and think you can escape responsibility? You must take responsibility for your actions and for my daughter. Your school will also hold you accountable." Yin turned pale with anger, but couldn't say a word in response. Under this mental pressure, Yin began to suffer from headaches and became increasingly silent. His reactions in research slowed down, and his work performance declined rapidly, with frequent errors in his experiments. When his mentor asked what was wrong, Yin excused himself by saying he was too tired from staying up late. His classmates noticed a change in him, and when they talked to him, Yin said he no longer wanted to continue his studies and was considering dropping out. After August 2004, Yin often woke up with nightmares. Sometimes he would get up 2 or 3 times a night and walk around his dormitory or sit on his bed and sigh. During the day, he didn't leave his room and sometimes didn't eat or drink all day. Seeing his poor mental condition, his classmates advised him to see a psychologist, but Yin refused. Yin had a habit of keeping a diary. In his entries from March to December 2004, he wrote, "Pitiful, pathetic. These are the words of my life. You reap what you sow." The intense pressure caused his health to deteriorate rapidly, and he even experienced occasional hallucinations. On November 29, 2004, the 1-year anniversary of Yin and Wendy's sexual relationship, Yin's phone rang in the evening. When he answered it, it was Wendy's voice. He had no idea how she had gotten his new phone number. Wendy suggested they meet, but Yin refused. Wendy expressed her longing for him and asked to see him. Feeling deeply conflicted, Yin agreed to let Wendy come to the dorm to meet him, though he had no idea how to handle her continued persistence. As soon as she entered, Yin said, "We already broke up. You shouldn't come looking for me anymore." Half joking, but with a hint of seriousness, Wendy replied, "I went through so much to find you again. How could I let go so easily? I'll keep calling and looking for you." Yin pleaded, "Please, I beg you, don't call me anymore. And don't let your father call me. My studies are already difficult, and this will only make my reputation worse." Wendy sat in the chair, tilted her head back, and said, "You care about your reputation. I care more about you. Aren't you afraid of being disgraced?" Yin looked at Wendy and remembered her father's threats, and the thought that this woman would continue to harass and threaten him in the future. A wave of rage swept over him. He lunged forward and grabbed Wendy by the throat. Wendy was shocked and thought at first that Yin was just trying to scare her. They struggled for several minutes until Yin let go and Wendy collapsed. Seeing Wendy motionless, Yin feared that if she woke up, things would get worse. In a panic, he dragged Wendy to the balcony and pushed her off the 12th floor. Just then, one of Yin's classmates opened his dormitory door and saw what happened, but too late to stop it. When the police arrived, Yin confessed to the murder. Afterward, the prosecutor believed that Yin's mental state was abnormal and ordered a forensic evaluation at Beijing Anding Hospital. The report indicated that Yin had a long history of depressive moods that had impaired his ability to control his actions. He was found to be of diminished criminal responsibility. Yin's trial began on June 23, 2005. His parents and sisters traveled to Beijing from their rural home to attend the trial. During questioning, Yin's thoughts were somewhat disorganized, and his statements were inconsistent and differed significantly from his confession to the police. He mentioned that after being scolded by Wendy's father, he had a mental breakdown. His health deteriorated, and he often experienced hallucinations. He said that whenever he saw someone's neck, he felt the urge to strangle them. On July 22, 2005, the Beijing Intermediate People's Court sentenced Yin Zhaohui to life imprisonment for premeditated murder. Yin and his family were also ordered to pay 450,000 RMB, about $55,000, in compensation to Wendy's parents. During the trial, Yin couldn't bring himself to look at Wendy's father. After the verdict was announced, Yin said he could accept the sentence, but his parents couldn't afford the $55,000 compensation. His parents showed no remorse for the victim. Wendy's father announced that he would appeal. He and his lawyer disputed the forensic evaluation of Yin's mental state, claiming that Yin had planned to kill. They requested a new evaluation. Wendy's father stated that Wendy had called him the day before her death and said that Yin had sent her several messages, including, "It was all my fault. I apologize. I want to make up. You can come to my school and stay in the school guest house. You want to take the postgraduate exam, right? I can help you." That's how Wendy got Yin's new number. They had only met for 20 minutes before the incident, and afterward Wendy's phone went missing. However, the court ultimately denied their petition, saying Wendy's parents had failed to show that the psychiatric evaluation was inconsistent with the facts and legal process. After the verdict, Yin's sister received an envelope from one of Yin's classmates, containing several thousand RMB donated by his classmates. They hoped to help Yin's family. Yin's mentor and classmates had a hard time accepting that he was a murderer. In their eyes, Yin was introverted, honest, kind, and shy, making it hard to believe he could have committed such a crime. In an interview, Yin said, "I regret it now. I've never fought anyone in my life, and yet I committed murder." An act of infidelity changed Yin's fate and cost Wendy her life. Yin came from a poor rural family and worked his way up to a PhD, spending most of his time in the lab. If he graduated successfully, he would likely join a research institute with a stable and respected job. This prospect filled him with pride, especially given his lifelong feelings of inferiority. However, his emotional affair with an online friend began when his life was too comfortable and peaceful. Yin never told Wendy the truth that he had a girlfriend, which made Wendy fall deeper in love with him. Even though he knew that Wendy wanted a serious relationship and was looking for a potential husband, he still had sex with her, taking advantage of her vulnerability. Afterward, he just wanted to avoid the situation altogether. Wendy's father's intervention and threats frightened Yin, especially when he used Yin's most important aspects, his studies, his future, and his reputation, as leverage. This was Yin's greatest weakness. Since he had never entered society, Yin didn't know what else he could do except experiment. If Wendy's father succeeded in getting him expelled, he would have nothing left. His introverted nature prevented him from asking anyone for advice. The relentless phone calls from Wendy's father gradually drove Yin to despair. All Wendy wanted was a boyfriend and a stable relationship that would lead to marriage. Her technical college education made her feel inferior, so she overly idolized Yin's PhD status. Such a boyfriend brought great pride to her family. She suggested that she go to graduate school part-time to stay close to Yin, completely unaware of Yin's true thoughts and needs. Faced with the person she loved whose attitude toward her changed from cold to disgust to fear, Wendy lost her dignity, and both begged and threatened Yin to stay with her. Her persistence and devotion were directed at the wrong person. Wendy's father did not want to see his daughter suffer, but it is never wise for parents to interfere in their children's romantic lives. Forcing the cheating man to stay with his daughter will not lead to a happy future. Unfortunately, many Chinese families put too much emphasis on marriage without considering the suitability of the partner. What do you think about this case? Please share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more crime stories, please like and subscribe to my channel.